let's talk about the Yangwang U9. Now, I hope I pronounced that correctly. But anyway, this is basically a car from BYD. Now, this is I think BYD's version of the luxury, high-end luxury version, similar to what the Japanese brands do. But anyway, this is a supercar, and it has 1300 horsepower. Now, that's a lot of power, but it's an electric supercar, so yeah, obviously. And I think it can do over 200 miles of range, which is in ideal conditions, meaning if you drive properly without pressing on it too much. But yeah, 200 miles from a supercar is pretty great. And then there's what else? The price. Now, apparently these cars are competing with probably the likes of, well, the only cars I can think of that is actually competing with directly or indirectly is the Rimacs. But those cars are super expensive, and compared to that, this is much cheaper. Now, apparently this car is going to be a little over $200,000, which is really expensive, but still, you're getting a 1300 horsepower supercar, even though it is an electric, and you can get 200 miles or something of range. Those are all good numbers. And the interior of this car, well, it seems a bit minimalistic. I honestly thought that maybe there's a lot of high-tech stuff going in there, but it seems decent. It seems high quality. And the car looks great. I mean, in terms of design, I think they really nailed it with this design. It kind of reminds me of a certain other brand, the front. But I guess that's that's bound to happen. But yeah, this car looks great. And it has some cool features. Now, apparently this car can jump. And when you're up against a small, tiny speed breaker, you can actually jump over it. Now, how does this car do it? Now, I'm not completely certain, but I think they do it by basically the suspension can push the body of the car up really quickly. And when the body is pushed up that quickly, then the wheels go up along with the body, and because of that, you get a small jump. Now, this is honestly a really cool feature. Now, I don't know how practical this thing or accurate this thing might be, or whether this will work properly in the long term, because the suspension is pushing such a heavy body up by force in order to push it off the ground. Now, in long term, I don't know if that thing will break or not. I mean, honestly, I'm not a big fan of too many moving parts in automobiles, because automobiles you kind of want to use them for a long time, and having too many movable parts that might break might be an issue. Now, I don't know whether that will be an issue or not. These are things that we have to wait and see in the future. Maybe nothing will be wrong with this car, but generally I feel like no unnecessary moving parts. You don't need to put too many unnecessary moving parts in there. And I don't feel that way about the interior. Now, some cars have infotainment screens that move in and out, and those things are gonna break. Honestly, those things are gonna break over a long time. I mean, after 10-15 years, there'll be some issues with moving parts. I mean, even before we had some smartphones with moving cameras, and that trend didn't last long because everyone knew that wasn't really a long-term solution. So yeah, too many moving parts might not be the best idea. Now, I think this car has 4 electric motors, one at each rear wheel, producing over 300 horsepower. And because of that, it can do some different stuff with the wheels, which is cool and all. But again, I hope this stuff doesn't break in the long run. That's my biggest worry for these things. Yes, the features are cool, but you want your car to be reliable for a long time, and especially since it's a $200,000+ car. Now, what else to talk about this car? Overall, this seems interesting. Now, I'm personally not a fan of EVs, and especially not a fan of EV supercars, but BYD as a brand, I think this is about EVs is about the best direction to go in, because when you're competing with legacy supercar brands and you have an ICE engine, yeah, you're not going to be able to compete with them. Even if you can price them cheaper, they have the brand value and the brand loyalty in some cases, and the people who are willing to buy these cars are willing to put out the extra money for just for the brand name. So it will be difficult if they came up with a nice engine. Even if it was a great car, it will be difficult for them to compete. And so in the case of BYD, I think an EV supercar is their best way to get everyone's attention. Even though I'm not a fan of the car, as a company I get it. And as far as that goes, they've done a good, I think they've done a good job. This has a lot of features. The jumping thing's really cool, as long as it doesn't break. And it's powerful. It looks great. Interior is good. Feels like a good quality car when you look at everything that it has. So yeah, and apparently they have another car that also goes into the water. Now I'll talk about that one later. Now, that sounds really cool, and actually a really essential feature depending on the location. But yeah, I'll talk about that later. But yeah, this is BYD's high-end brand, the Yangwang U9. So yeah.